Hi everyone, this is Glitterati and we are talking about managing change by using the lessons from some timeless books. The book we have chosen today is called Our Iceberg is Melting by John Kotter. So this book starts by talking about penguins who are living in their own colony in an iceberg, and they've been living there as far as anybody could remember. So it's their home, their father's home, their grandfather's home. It will always be like that. Except that Fred, a very bright, observant and curious penguin, is noticing that the iceberg is collapsing and their home could become fragile. So while he's really worried, he decides to talk to Alice, who's very practical and no nonsense and always gives good advice. But before Alice and Fred go forward, they decide to do a little experiment where they put a bottle, seal it and put it inside the iceberg. If their theory is correct, the bottle would have broken. And unfortunately, that's what happens, and they realize that their nightmare could come true. When they start talking to everybody and call a general assembly, people worry. Should we panic? Should we keep it a secret? And this is typically what would happen. However, when they do realize that this could be a dangerous situation, they finally decide that they need to do something. So lesson 1, create a sense of urgency. And then comes lesson 2, pull together a guiding team. Here the guiding team comprised of Louis, Alice, Fred, Buddy and Professor. And they had to come together to think of a solution. So while most of them were respectable and practical, there was one member called Nono who was not only responsible for weathering forecast, but was also accustomed to being blamed for being wrong. But really, we all need a Nono, because that's the only time we realize that things could change and we need another perspective. So here we went forward and there was a seagull flying, and the penguins think to themselves, the seagull looks lost but it doesn't seem afraid. Is it that moving from one place to another is the way it lives? And that's when the lesson 3 comes, develop change vision and a strategy. And their strategy decided that they need some young, enthusiastic scout penguins who should just go and search for a new iceberg. And these penguins were excited and happy to help. Lesson 4, they communicated for understanding and buy-in. And this is when they decided that the scout teams should keep pressing forward and not give up. There were many times that there was lobbying and people were trying to get in or disturb the system, but somehow everybody was convinced that work needs to be done. Lesson 5, empower others to act and also make sure that you are pressing ahead. A perfect iceberg was found thanks to their efforts, and they did move to their new home. And all this time they were celebrating. They were celebrating their heroes, because lesson 6 says produce short-term wins and celebrate. They gave medals to honor them and to celebrate these heroes, but they didn't let up. They kept pressing harder and faster after the first success. And even when they found the perfect iceberg, they kept moving because they created a new culture which was nomadic. So lesson 8 is create a new culture. Wrapping up quickly again by giving the lessons, create a sense of urgency, pull together the guiding team, develop the change vision and strategy, communicate for understanding and buy-in, empower others to act, produce short-term wins, don't let up, and create a new culture. Thank you everybody. We will be back again.